Hello Booktube, this is Aaron from Aaron Read a Book or Aaron Read a Book. I'm doing a random tag today, the Booktuber Bio Tag, and I'm doing it because I saw Steve Donahue do it this morning and he said everyone should do it, so I'm taking that as a tag and I'm doing it. And it's just sort of an interesting tag. It is like a better Booktube newbie tag, so let's go through it. Question number 1 is, who are you? Share a little bit about yourself. I am Aaron. I am a English person. I was born in the year of our Lord 1986. Had to remember that. So that makes me 38 years old, and I am from a town in Essex, England, which is sort of southeast, called Colchester, or the Roman name for it was Camludunum. I always forget that, and it was the Roman capital of Britain, which Claudius invaded. Interesting things about Colchester, where I grew up. There's a big castle. There's a big Norman castle that's in very good condition, and which was built on the Temple of Claudius, which was built to celebrate the Roman invasion of Britain. There's sort of ruins everywhere still, and it's still got quite a lot of Roman wall all the way around the town. I'm not the only booktuber from Colchester. Sarah from Your True Shelf is also from there, although we didn't know each other until we met on Booktube. What else about me? I'm currently training for a marathon, which is why I'm not on Booktube as much as usual, because the thing they don't tell you about training for a marathon is it takes a lot of time. I have to run about 6 hours a week, well, more than 6 hours a week now, and with all the other stuff around it, it's about 8 hours, so it's like having another day of a job. So it's hard to fit Booktube video making into that as well, especially when I'm tired all the time, but it's kind of fun. I'm listening to a lot of audio books. I've listened to 2 Lord of the Rings books. I like all food. I'm the least picky eater of all time. I will eat anything. I love it. I went to university in the Midlands in a town called Derby, which is slap bang in the middle of England, which is an old mill town. It's not very nice. I didn't enjoy university very much. I studied history, but Derby is a horrible town, but it's in one of the most beautiful areas in the world, which is the Peak District. It's an amazing place to go if you're ever in England. When I was in my early 20s, I lived in New Zealand, which is also another very nice place to live, which is in Christchurch in New Zealand. And I left Christchurch on the day of the earthquake, not on purpose, but the first earthquake hit whilst I was flying back to England, which is sort of good luck for me, but bad luck for my mum, who still lives there. I am a digital marketer. It's my job in publishing, but not fun publishing, like educational publishing and niche areas. But so this isn't even my only booktube. This is my only YouTube channel. Believe it or not, this is a very amateur channel, but I actually run a professional channel as well, but not a very big one. I work in a very small niche. So that's my general human being existence. I live in London now. I forgot to say that. But hopefully one day, when I am not so poor, I will move to the country and buy a house and have lots of bookshelves, rather than, as you can see, hammering loads and loads of books into one very small room. Question number 2, how long have you been on Booktube? I have been making videos nearly 2 years now, which is amazing to me. I started in May of 2023, so coming up to my 2nd year anniversary. But I was actually on Booktube for like 4 or 5 years before that as a commentator and just a watcher. So nearly 7 years, I'd say now, overall. What kinds of books do you love to read? Has Booktube had an effect on what you read? I think Booktube is like 90% of what I read now. I don't really trust other sources anymore, and I don't read. I read very eclectically, but I read almost entirely backlist books because I don't trust modern fiction or modern. I sort of trust modern non-fiction more, but I like to wait for time to filter out the crud, so I can just read what is sort of proven because it's survived hundreds of years or whatever. So I very rarely read new books, but I hear about almost everything that I read now from Booktube, and basically have for like the last 7 years. I suppose the odd thing still pops up in other sources, but very rarely. So yeah, all my reading is almost like structured around events, so I tend to read what Booktube tells me to read. What do you enjoy about making I should say the kind of genres I like as well, I guess. I would say my favourites are classics, science fiction. My computer's just gone off, so I can't see the questions. Science fiction, fantasy. I love mysteries. Did I say classics? Classics is probably the main thing I read. If you look at my stats, but I also like history, historical fiction, and sort of all non-fiction. I feel like I need to read more music biographies because I've been enjoying those recently. But yeah, I will try anything. What do you enjoy about making Booktube videos? I think the main thing that everyone says is true, which is like the community and meeting people and having interaction with just people who watch your videos and stuff, and like the core group of people who like always comment on my videos and stuff. It's always really nice. But I also think it sort of made me a more confident person in a way, because I hated ever being in any pictures or film or anything like that before, and now I feel like I'm much more confident, and I think I'm much more confident at public speaking just because I've got so used to sitting down and speaking for like 20 minutes or whatever, and I don't really do a lot of editing in my videos, but so that has helped me with sort of speaking confidence, which is good. And also, like, I was always very socially anxious and shy, and the thought of meeting someone I'd met on the internet in real life always terrified me. And I've known people on the internet for many years because I've always been a bit of an internet nerd, but like meeting up with Gareth and stuff, I would have never done that 10 years ago or even before I started Booktube. So that's definitely, I think I've just met a bunch of really nice people that are less intimidating as well, so that's good. What's the next question? What do you not enjoy about making Booktube videos? I think what I don't like about it is that I'm an inherently very lazy person, so just sitting down and actually doing it is my problem. I tend to make them, like today is Friday, I tend to make most of my videos on Friday, and I tend to make them during my working hours or in my lunch break, like today is my lunch break, just because I know I can quickly knock out a 15-minute video, and it's a Friday, everyone's taking it quite easy anyway. but I feel like it's easier to make it when I'm getting paid. I feel less lazy, but yeah, hopefully no one from my real life ever sees my Booktube channel, because they will know that I've been making all these videos during working hours, but very little time they take me. I don't do any editing. What next? What was the other thing? Oh yeah, the other thing that I don't like about making Booktube videos is sometimes I don't know if other Booktubers get this, or even people who watch Booktube. I get like an existential dread about it. Like I start to question why Booktube exists or why we like it. And I think, why would anyone watch this rubbish that I'm talking about when I'm talking about books I like? And then I remember that people do watch my videos, so they must like it. And I watch loads of people's videos, and they're not doing anything particularly much more interesting than me, and I love it. So I just don't know why. Every now and then, though, I'll question and think I should stop doing that, because it doesn't make any sense. Why are people watching each other talk about books on the internet? And then I remember that I like it, so that's the only answer you really need. You don't need to think about it any deeper than that. But yeah, every now and then that kind of comes over me. Question number 6: what video on your channel are you most proud of? Almost all my videos are just this, me sitting here in the same chair, just talking, not doing a lot of editing or effort at all, really. I don't do any scripting really either. If I'm doing a tag like this, I'll write a couple of notes down, but unless it's a really long book I've been reading for ages or something, I won't make any notes or anything. So that doesn't make me particularly proud, but one video that I did actually do editing was how to read less, which was like just a stupid little like comedy sketch I did that was making fun of people who do how to read more videos, and I thought that was fun, because it reminded me, like, when I was a kid I loved like sketch comedy and it was like making a little sketch comedy video, and although my acting is terrible in it, but it was still fun to do and edit, and I should do more things like that. It's just, again, point 1, I am lazy. Question number 7: is there anything you wish that was different about Booktube? I often think, when I watch a lot of Booktube newbie tags, and I often think you can identify people that have only watched massive big Booktube channels, and I always think that's a bit sad. I think it is harder to find the niche, smaller channels of people reading backlist books and stuff. But I think once you find that community, it's infinitely better than big Booktube. It doesn't help that big Booktube, a lot of those people are basically affiliates, so they get paid to do this as a job, and that's fine, but it's not necessarily going to be that. Doesn't really interest me to hear about the latest fiction coming out, and they've already been paid to say they like it. But so I wish smaller Booktube had more of an influence on people, but at the same time I like that it's kind of underground and niche, and there are just less people that probably read backlisted books anyway, so that makes sense. I do wish people were also less obsessed by subscriber counts, but I find it hard to criticise that, because there is something really satisfying about watching numbers go up, and because I have a YouTube channel for my job as well, I can kind of get my gratification from that side of it, rather than caring about my own channel, because I don't think subscriber count really matters, and as long as you're getting comments, I think that's fine. And also, I don't like channels that get lots of subscribers, because I feel they lose the community atmosphere, and I would never want so many comments on my videos that I can't answer them all, so because I feel like that would completely undo the point of Booktube for me. And when I see Booktube channels that don't reply to their comments and don't comment on other people's videos, I unsubscribe from them. There's almost no one I watch that doesn't comment on other people and reply to their comments. Even like Criminally and Steve Donahue, they've got big channels. I see their comments on other people's videos all the time. I see them replying to their own comments all the time. It's not hard to do, and if you don't do that, what you're just shouting into the wind. That doesn't. I don't see the point of that. The other thing I don't like that we should get rid of is unhauls. Stop doing them. Keep all your books forever until you die. I think if you're not getting crushed by a falling sort of stack of books every 5 minutes, you're doing it wrong. Stop unhauling books. Especially don't unhaul books that you haven't read. Keep the choice. Keep a library. Number 8. Name 3 books that you have reviewed on your channel that you feel represent who you are as a reader. I'm just going to go Middlemarch. I read this in 2023 and it was my second favourite book of the year. But the first favourite book of the year was The Light Years by Elizabeth Jane Howard, and I love that. That is like one of my all-time favourite books. Middlemarch is also one of my all-time favourite books, but I feel like it represents me better than The Light Years because it's a classic, and most of my reading is classics, or a big chunk of my reading is classics. So I think this represents the classic side of my reading. I haven't read this in the last 2 years, but I have made a video about it, and that's The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin, who represents my sort of genre fiction love and my history of genre fiction love. When I was sort of a teenager, or young, I just read almost entirely genre fiction, fantasy and science fiction. Then when I got to sort of my university years, I started reading like Russian classics and modern classics. And then when I got a bit older, I realised I was originally correct and I should just read fantasy and science fiction. Lastly, Barbara Pym's An Unsuitable Attachment. And I think this has kind of come across in the last 7 years since I've been watching Booktube. It's my love of old lady books from the first half of the 20th century. If you're an old woman who wrote a book in 1923, I probably like it. Like, I love old English ladies who are a bit funny, like Barbara Pym, Nancy Mitford, people like that. And I would extend this to old ladies like Agatha Christie. Yeah, my taste, I definitely have the taste of an old lady. I do think one day we should make an old ladies of Booktube sort of reading event. Old Lady October or something like that. Next question. Name 3 Booktubers whose content inspires you. I obviously don't take a lot of inspiring because all I do is sort of amateur unedited videos, but I will. There are there's loads of Booktubers that I look up to. So I'm going to go first. The first Booktuber I really started watching a lot, or regularly, was Jennifer at Insert Literary Pun Here, and her taste is very similar to mine as well, and I usually agree with her takes on books. And recently she's come back to Booktube after quite a big gap of not being here, and she's sort of come back and started making these intensely in-depth long videos, and she was always a naturally brilliant reviewer, but now she's really sort of doing projects, and it's really interesting. Like, she just did one on Svetlana Alexeyevich's books and stuff like that. She did a Jane Austen one as well, which was great. So check out her channel. much bigger channel than mine, obviously, but she was the first person who really got me into Booktube, and her channel led me to the rest of Booktube, so that obviously inspired me to watch Booktube and make Booktube videos, although I will never ever put in as much effort as her, so I'm not inspired in that way, but I would love to be able to review books the way she does. Secondly, I'm going to go book chat with Pat, because I think I've said this before, basically I think Pat is the perfect booktuber. She interacts with the community more than anyone else. She does every tag, she tags everyone, she's always in other people's comments, she's always in reading events, and she does really interesting videos herself as well. So I think she is like the kind of booktuber that everyone should be, and yeah, I just admire that about her. And third one, I'm going Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading, because she made me start making videos. She inspired me to start making videos. Her style is very what I've gone for as well, which is lots of Friday reads, although she does a lot more stuff than me. I am lazy, but yeah, I do Friday reads because of Kelly. I make Booktube videos because she encouraged me to make a channel. I do lots of events that Kelly does, yeah, and she's inspired me to read loads of different books as well. Even at the moment, I'm rereading Gilead and Home, the Marilyn Robinson books, with her group, so that's great. Number 10, share the love. It can be challenged to find your audience. Name 3 booktubers who you think need more hype. I thought it's quite funny that Steve said that no one really needs hype, which is funny. I kind of agree, but lots. I try and find a lot of new channels when I have the time. I tend to always dedicate a little bit of my week to watching Booktube newbie tags. So I'm going to go with 3 newish channels. First one, Rick Reads, which is Erica. She reads a lot more modern stuff than me, but she's still quite eclectic, which I admire. She's sort of delving into new genres to her, which is good to see. And she's a very smiley, happy person, so watching her videos, it's just always quite joyous. So and she's very new, so check out Rick Reads. Secondly, I'm going with Dr. Cranky Pants Reads, who's Nick, and I found his channel because he did my Booktuber name tag. That's another good thing about making Booktube videos. Make your own tags. And he turned my Booktuber name tag into 3 videos, and it was like a little mini series of he made it into a dating show and was matching books with the Booktubers from the prompts, and it was absolutely brilliant and hilarious. And then he's just recently done another video where he was like going to a therapist and getting book therapy, and has like one of his friends acting out the part of a psychologist as well. It's just brilliant. Like, already incredible effort into his videos, and he's like a literary professor as well, so he knows what he's talking about, and he's just very funny videos. And but yeah, he's been on a bit longer than the other 2 that I'm mentioning, but I've only just really discovered him. But brilliant. And the third one is going to be Jess Lost in the Pages, which is a very new channel, and Jess has like 15 subscribers and like a handful of videos, but I really like her manner, and she is also very eclectic and reads a lot of the same types of genres as me, so that was interesting. And yeah, so if you like, but she probably reads more newer books than I do, but very new booktuber. If you like the kind of things that I review, you'll probably like her channel as well, so go check her out as well. Yeah, so that's the Booktuber Bio Tag. I'll leave links to all the channels I mentioned down below as usual, and I will also link Steve's video that inspired me to do it by tagging the entire world. So yeah, check that out as well. Have a good one, Booktube. Bye.